you know what? I'm going to talk to Tim, who's called into the show before. Tim, from Washington. You are live on Truth Wanted. What's up?
Hey, Dan.
Hey,
How
Tim,
you
how's it
doing?
going? Doing good, doing good. Nikki's dropping some truth
Good.
bombs and listen, making me uncomfortable. Okay, Nikki's
Really?
saying some stuff. Oh man, you're saying some stuff. You're saying some wild stuff today, Nikki. I had no idea
Really?
you had the perspective that you do. Yeah,
What
you.
perspective do I
Oh no, just
have?
like you're just like I know. I guess I'm just shocked by the we need rappers and athletes to do it. Like I have to look at the stuff you're talking about there, but I
Yeah,
was like I was just shocked. I was like, oh,
yeah.
that
Yeah,
sounds yeah, that's wild, but you
yeah.
know,
But it's true though.
yeah.
No,
I
I'm
mean,
It's definitely not my perspective. It's
yeah.
about
statistically
ready to drop a
supported.
few things too.
Yeah, Tim, you're gonna drop some bombs on us too, Tim. Lay it on me. What do you got?
Yeah. I am so excited about some of the representation for the LGBTQ community in media
Mm,
right now. I watched Strange World on Disney Plus,
mm,
and the reason why was because I watched a video on YouTube about how the religious wrong are all up in arms about the fact that one of the main characters in that movie is a 16-year-old gay boy who has a crush on his friend.
mm,
And
Mm.
so I watched it for that reason. It's like, I'm going to watch anything that's going to make the Christian wrong all up in arms. And I thought it was so sweet. It was handled so well. It was beautiful. The little flirtation scenes between the character and his crush were just drawn so cute. But that wasn't the focus of the movie. The focus of the movie was the adventure that he and his father and grandfather went on, right? And so it was so much fun to watch this kid who has a crush on his best friend just have an adventure with his parents and his
mm.
grandfather. And the representation, it was as cool for me and sweet as Heartstopper on Netflix. And I'm
Mm.
so proud of Disney for doing this. And I'm sorry that it flopped in the box office. But
Yeah.
I'm just excited about the fact that we are finally getting some cool representation where the I suppose the community isn't um, I guess treated horribly. The gay characters
Mm.
aren't tragic. They're not
Yeah.
evil. They're just people.
Yeah. No, that's great.
And
I
and
think
it
it's
was
great.
it was really
Yeah, Tim, we got to talk about this a little bit last time when you called too last year, which is just talking about representation. Nikki, of course, is a lesbian, and I think that's wonderful. That like every piece of media, right? Like everybody's saying, oh, you know, everything on Netflix, everything on Hulu, it all has gay stuff in it now. It's like, yeah, that's awesome. It's great. It's cool. Like, what do you mean? Like 99% of human media that's ever been produced has been about like straight people doing stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, what, like, yeah, it's going to be for a little bit now. We're going to have sort of an uptick in this content, and maybe hopefully in the future, I don't know. It'll just be there'll be so much stuff out there you're not even going to be able to really care. Like if you're really not into that, if you're still homophobic, like there's so many options for you. Take your pick, right? But it's like, yeah, I'm so happy when I hear folks like yourself, Tim, talk about that kind of representation. That's again, as a guy who is a cis straight white dude, it's like, yeah, I want everybody else that I know that doesn't look like me to have stuff and movies and plots about them. And I love what you said about characters not being tragic either. That is such a big stereotype, right? Or the Barry the gay stereotype, right? Where it's just like, the character has to die in the movie or something. It's really crazy seeing the difference there. But what do you think, Nikki?
Oh, I agree. Of course, The flip side of that is always the Christian community thinks it's some type of agenda,
Mhm.
rather than just understanding that we do exist as well.
Yeah.
And having us in movies isn't
Right.
an agenda. We
Mhm.
exist in your life. We play a role in your life,
Mhm.
and
Mm.
life imitates art. So there should be no reason for us to be present in the art as well.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. Beautiful way to put it.
hmm
Yeah. Tim, what else do you think about that?
And I think it's really interesting that the problem that the Christian wrong has with the whole thing is that they think it's horrible that a PG movie has this character who is flirting with his friend, right?
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's almost tantamount to gay porn.
Yeah.
It's okay for like Eric and Prince Eric and Ariel to kiss, but it's not okay for these two boys to kind of flirt and Diazo to grab the hat off of Ethan's head and they flirt around a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not okay for that, but it's quite okay for these kids to see a straight couple kiss. And
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not against a straight couple kissing on television, right? But
Yeah.
at the same time, you can't say that just a little boyish flirtation is tantamount to gay porn, you know?
All right.
And
Yeah,
and I think
it's
that's what
ridiculous.
upsets me is we,
Mhm.
yeah, we can't. One of the coolest things about Heartstopper is that these characters, Nick and Charlie, are the only thing they do is kiss on TV. You don't see them getting naked with each other. You see these
Yeah.
two teenagers who are falling in love. And the same kind of thing happens with Strange World. You see these two kids flirting with each other and having just that sweet little beginning of crushdom into I might be falling for you type thing. And it was so
Right.
cute to watch. And so, yeah, I just had to say that we need more representation like that. We in the LGBTQ community need more representation like that.
Tim, I can just tell how excited you are just by the tone of your voice when you're describing this stuff. I mean, obviously you're interested because you called into the show about it, but it's like that just makes me so happy because one, for those of you who don't know, Tim has told his story before, but Tim has was in the closet for a long time and like lived, a lot of your life like that. And it's like that's so great that now you get to see how different society has changed, like to allow for these kinds of stories to be told. Stuff, I mean, the teenage romances have been a thing forever. Any Christian conservative that's like, oh, this is pornography, it's like, okay, so is like every single
Romeo and
teen
Juliet.
romance movie ever. Yeah, like it's just like, whatever. Like they're not having sex on screen or anything, like you said, right? It's just like kids flirting with each other, which is like what teenagers do. Like if you're ever a teenager who was into that, I mean, like obviously asexual community not included, maybe. Well, maybe. I mean, well, actually, that's not true because there's flirting there that happens too, in in different ways. But like, point is, right?
Right.
Anybody who is looking at this and is saying, "Oh, this is grooming, this is pornographic, this is
Oh my goodness.
disturbing," it's just like, no, you just are so privileged in your experiences that you didn't
Yeah.
actually get to see any of this happening yourself, but this is the experiences of millions,
Yes.
millions of people, not just today, but historically, and it has always happened. But these stories were just never told because folks like yourself has said, "This is weird, this is gross." And get this out of my face. And now the world is changing, and for the better in that regard, at least, right? Yeah. What do you
Right.
think, Nikki?
Yeah. And it's just
Oh, go ahead,
for
Tim.
me,
Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
as a former fundamentalist, Pentecostal Christian who was also an ex-gay minister, stories like this really do mean a lot. I mean, I weep I watch Heartstopper probably on the regular. I've rewatched it. I can't even tell you how many times and it makes me cry every single time, because it's like these kids growing up now get to see Nick and Charlie and this wonderful little romance that they have. And now they have Disney's movie Strange World, where this kid he's an adventurer. He gets out there and he's killing bad guys with his dad and grandpa, and he's having an adventure, and he likes his best friend Diazo. And and for me, it's like say if my grandson decides that he likes boys, and he's 14 now, and he likes boys, he's actually got all of these wonderful role models that are his age in the media, and it just makes me so happy that queer representation is going from tragic and evil to just a thing. It's just a thing, and I love it. Yeah.
So. I agree. I think it's wonderful. I think it's great. People who just don't understand why this is good. Again, I cite the fact that they just have lived a narrow, privileged life, right? Privileged in the sense that they've never had their love or their romances or the people that they like discriminated against, or their stories not have the chance to be told because they were straight. That's never happened, right? Never happened in our world. But now that we do get to have these queer romances on screen, it is a net good, I think. So it's really awesome. Tim, we got to let you go because we need to get this show moving. But thank you so much for calling in, and I do appreciate you giving your perspective.